Good morning, everyone. This is Tony DeGonia, host of the Tony DeGonia Show. We're coming to you straight out of Tampa, Florida today, and we're just glad you could come and visit with us and see what we're going to talk about. So find you a spot with some good signal, grab you a glass of some sweet iced tea, and get ready, because we're going gator hunting. May 15th. It's roughly 10:30 a.m. in the morning, Eastern Standard Time. For those of you on Central Standard Time, where I normally am, this will be released at 10:30. On the East Coast, it's released at 11:30. I am still in Tampa, Florida. I'll be here all week, as a matter of fact, and it has been cold and rainy. Of all the times for it to be cold and rainy, when I come over from Texas to spend a week to do some work, things like that, what does it do? It stays cold and rainy. What kind of crap is this? Last time I was over here, it was nice. It was a little warm. I wore shorts. I wore flip-flops. I walked down by the water. You know, I had dinner on the balcony overlooking the water. It was beautiful, right? Of course, I was eating lunch with my boss, so that wasn't so beautiful. But, you know, when you get free lunch, you take what you can take. Anyway, we've got a couple of 2 or 3 things to talk about today. We're going to keep it pretty short, but I got some pretty good opinions about this stuff, so... I did a dry run a while ago because I hit the wrong button and it didn't record right, so hopefully I don't lose some of the venom that I had going there. Yeah, man, we got some wild stuff going on in the physical security industry right now. Just so you guys know, I do have a new job. I am not at liberty to discuss who I went to work with. I discussed that with my new management team today. And until they make a public announcement, I have been requested not to convey that information to anyone. Let me just tell you that I do work for a very good company that's international, multinational even, and I do look forward to being able to speak their name on one of these podcasts. I think this is going to be a great position, and I think I'm going to go a long way here. They've got great products, they've got great service, they really seem to know what's going on really, really well, better than most anybody I've worked for in the last 5 or 10 years. So, you know, I was pleasantly surprised when I showed up for my first day at work. Everything's been great. I spent the whole day learning about the product, and I'll spend the rest of this week learning about it, and some of next week, and some of the week after that. And so it's just really exciting time for me. But when we get into a couple of these articles that we're going to talk about, it's not quite so exciting for some of these guys. So we'll start off. I'm fixing to launch a post that is titled BriefCam to be acquired by Canon, Eric Kant vision to shed debt burden through Chapter 11 sale. And within that, there is also an article, just a brief blurb that I wrote. In congratulations to my good friend Richard Valderrama for being named the Regional Sales Manager of Access Control for Florida, Georgia, and the Caribbean at Avigilon. Richard was previously a Regional Sales Manager at Indigo Vision, where he and I worked closely together to build his territory in Florida, Georgia, South, and North Carolina. I do want to say that I want to wish Richard the very best of success in his new role with Avigilon, and Richard, go conquer the world and Semper Fi. If we come up on each other on a bid and we have to compete on something, may the best man win, and may the loser buy lunch. I'll gladly buy you lunch anytime, brother. And I know that you'll gladly do the same. So you don't make a lot of friends in work, but every now and again you find that one guy who's just a pretty damn good guy to be around, and Richard Valderrama is one of them. I really enjoyed working with him. Unfortunately, we were both laid off at about the same time. Now, on to further news. BriefCam announces its acquisition by Canon. The addition of BriefCam to Canon's market-leading network video solutions products portfolio complements the Canon Group's previous acquisitions of Axis Communications and Milestone Systems with a breakthrough innovative video content analytics solution. The acquisition will drive further rapid innovation in the video analytics by BriefCam, as well as new co-innovation activities with Canon and its market-leading portfolio companies. What I see going on there is that we're going to see BriefCam popping up with Axis cameras and Milestone VMS systems, and combining all that with OnVIF. It's going to be interesting because BriefCam has a lot of other partners that are not owned by Canon, and while further down in the article it says that they're not going to make any changes to stuff like that and that BriefCam's still going to be a standalone company, what I think is, given 18 to 24 months, BriefCam is not going to be available in the open market. It's going to wind up being a part of Axis or the Canon Group as a whole. Axis will probably be devoured by the Canon Group, and you'll see Canon all over all these different cameras that Axis makes. Hopefully the OnVIF standard, Profile S standard will still stand, and they'll still manufacture these devices under OnVIF Profile S, because I think that open source capability with those cameras is what makes this industry unique. No other industry really has a compliance quite like OnVIF. And I've worked in telecom, I've worked in multiple domains in IT, and I've never seen anything quite like OnVIF in the way that it works. But according to Trevor Matz, they're thrilled to be joining forces with global leader in digital imaging. The acquisition will allow BriefCam to continue to deliver industry-leading video content analytics solutions while remaining a standalone company within the Canon Group. Like I said, 18 to 24 months. This industry is changing and evolving so much, so quickly. It reminds me so much of the telecom industry of the late 90s, early 2000s, before the telecom bubble bust. That it's frightening because there's so many different players, and what's going to happen is when you get 30 players like this in a room that do similar things, they're going to partner up and they're going to whittle down, and next thing you know, you're going to get down and you're going to have 5 of one player and 2 of one player, and next thing you know, you're going to have a grand total of maybe 7 or 8 total players in a particular industry, just enough that they don't break monopoly laws within the U.S. If you look at it back during the early days of operating systems, there were probably 15 or 16 different operating systems out there. Microsoft was just one of them. By the time Microsoft got done, they either ran everybody out of town or they wound up subsidizing other computer companies' operating systems, Apple's, so that they would stay in business, so that Microsoft didn't get charged with antitrust laws, law violations, or monopoly violations. And if you look back in the records, you'll find that Microsoft did actually fund Macintosh Apple for a number of years while Steve Jobs was over there, while he and Bill Gates had a love-hate relationship. Microsoft did, in fact, make them too big to fail, simply because if he let them fall, then he would have been facing a bunch of government-related charges for monopolizing an industry. And so I think that's kind of where we're headed here. To further prove my point, there's another article, same place, same writer, Jay Bartlett, written yesterday, May 14th, 223, Aricant Vision to shed burden through Chapter 11 sale. Aricant Vision announced it will execute an asset purchase agreement, the purchase agreement with an affiliate of Turnspire Capital Partners, under which Turnspire will acquire substantially all the company's assets to eliminate the company's debt. The company's insisted proceedings under Chapter 11 has initiated proceedings under Chapter 11 of the United States Bankruptcy Code in the District of Delaware, from which it expects to emerge with a clean balance sheet and fresh capital. Now, I get it. Aricant has been losing money over the past few years. I think they've probably been bleeding money over the last few years because they've primarily been making cameras. And if you look over at IPVM references the race to the bottom in almost every article. And that's great. I'm not trying to compete with IPVM. I'm just one guy, right? I just cover a few things and blog about it because it's just kind of a hobby that I do. But if you look at IPVM, who's a serious, they want to be a serious news source for the industry. They talk about the race to the bottom, and what they're talking about is the race to the bottom for these cameras, for camera prices and everything else, where these companies have forgotten how to sell on value, have forgotten how to sell on solutions, end-to-end type solutions, and they're just selling on price point on cameras. So what do? They keep making them cheaper and cheaper and cheaper every year until what do you have? You have a couple of pieces of plastic with some electronics in it, and it's crap. I actually got my hands on some Aricant cameras here a couple of months ago when I was doing some work with a customer. I'm not going to say who, obviously. But this customer had ordered some Aricant cameras. They wanted to check them out, do their thing, and we got them working, but the OnVIF Profile S worked like crap, and it took a long time to get them sunk up because they didn't follow the Profile S exactly the way it was supposed to be followed. So it was pretty much crap. The construction of the camera was shoddy. It was just not a good situation. And so, they say made in the USA, and maybe they are manufactured in the USA, but the parts don't come from the USA. I don't see those guys pulling any parts from the USA because what they had, if it was made by the lowest bidder. It just was not. It was not good product, okay? The camera worked all right. It didn't have the greatest resolution. It was just kind of clunky and everything else. Like I said, I don't mean to rag on them. I just wasn't impressed, right? And so when you get in that race like that, you wind up in Chapter 11. Because you race to the bottom and you constantly lower your prices and you constantly battle on price, and you're battling folks like Axis who are 10 times, 20 times your size. They've got the backing of Canon, one of the Goliaths of the world, who can afford to lose $1 billion and never even blink. And you're sitting here looking at this and you're wondering why you're in Chapter 11. You know what? Make your VMS better. If you don't have a VMS, get a VMS. If you don't have a PSIM, get a PSIM. whatever it is that you need to make yourself competitive on value and not price, go get it. It's worth the investment. And then make your hardware right. People will buy quality stuff at a reasonable price. You do not have to race to the bottom. You don't have to do it, guys. I know I'm preaching to the choir. I know I you guys will probably look at me and tell me I am fucking stupid. And you know what? Maybe I am. But I'm not in Chapter 11 bankruptcy either. So, there you go. There's my thought on that. When you play with these big guys with the money, they play to win. What I see with Ericont, I see a lot of people losing a lot of jobs. I see Ericont getting busted apart and getting sold off for their different parts and pieces, and they will fall victim once again to being sold off and parted out, and there'll be no more, which will then make the herd even thinner within the industry, because there's a serious convergence coming to this industry, just like with telecom, just like with operating systems with Microsoft, just like with almost any industry that starts to grow, when it starts to change. And this industry has started changing over to internet protocol versus coaxial cable. It started coming in with IP video. The video is getting better. The storage is getting faster and cheaper. The servers are getting better. The software is getting better. There's more competitors than ever. Some of the competitors are going to get eaten up. There's big dogs, there's little dogs. The little dogs don't always make it. Sometimes the little dogs get ate up. Sometimes the little dogs eat the big dogs. You never can tell. You got to be surprised. Sometimes the Chihuahua will take down the pit bull. All I'm saying is, I don't see these guys making it. I could be wrong. Like I said, this is my opinion. It's my show. It just is what it is. It's not news. It's opinion. I wish you guys all the best. Build great cameras. Stop half-assing it. Do the right thing. Pay your employees. Keep your good people around and listen to them. And you just might pull out of this thing and be able to make some money. With that, I want to bid you adieu. I wish you all to have a wonderful, beautiful day, and maybe we'll see some sunshine at some point. And worst comes to worst, ladies and gentlemen, I'll see you down the road.
Well, y'all, looks like the show's over. So check us out on our website, www.tonydegonia.com. Then click on the Tony DeGonia Show button at the top of the page. You can also check us out on YouTube, iTunes, Google Play, Podbean, or Spotify, or any of our social media outlets, which you can find on our website at www.tonydegonia.com. Hey, thanks for listening in, and we'll see you down the road.